Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Regina and Friends Crime Chat. Um, Today, we're going to be going over a deep dive into the documents in the Troy Alexandria stroke case, and what has led. I don't know if you guys watched my last interview. Um, 2 weeks ago, I interviewed Miss Eve Dillman, who is Troy Alexandria Stroke's aunt, um, who was just on Jesse Weber's Sidebar Long Crime. For those of you who haven't watched it, I highly suggest it, and that is in the link below as well in the description below. Both links are there. Let me just put this up real quick. Whoops, wrong one. But I tell you what, let's start out. Let's start out like this. Okay, so we're back. Hello, Sammy. It's good to see you, everybody. We have Sammy here with us today,
Good afternoon, everyone.
and it looks like we have Mystic Jinx. Hey, Mystic Jinx, how you doing, Jinxie? And we got Dark Side of the Moon. Good to see you. Very, very good. I'm good. It's so good to see all of you. Um, we have Diana Hutcherson. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Thank you all for being here. And so today, first of all, I would like to say um, to Eve Dillman and Aunt Linda, if they are watching. Um, I know it's a long road, and I can see the uphill battle, but I also see the victories ahead. And as a matter of fact, they had a small victory. They're trying to find a lawyer to help them get documents in Troy's case because they have been done a great injustice. Um, and we're fixing to go over all of that. But there's a reason that this is entitled Killing the Informant. And we're going to start off with the sidebar show. But during the sidebar with Jesse Weber, I'm going to pause periodically and show you the documents that he's talking about and stuff in the show. So I have all of those, and we're going to be sharing them and explaining them here with everyone. So let me get this. As y'all know, I've been covering Troy's case from day one. Um, this is Troy Alexandria Strope. Oh, now how do I full size that for a second? Okay. Make sure I go all the way back to the beginning. Okay.
So it's very frustrating because we know they're hiding something. And the hiding is what makes us dig deeper.
Many questions surround the shocking and horrifying death of a woman out in Arkansas whose body was found in a plastic storage tote just off of a highway. With limited information out there, we sit down with the victim's aunt to hear her side of what she thinks is happening, both behind the scenes and why.
Whenever they say Troy's aunt, that's Eve Dillman, bless her soul. She's such a beautiful woman. I would just like to say, if anything ever happened to me, I would feel and know that I was loved to have people fighting for me the way that they fight for Troy. So, but that's
They're
who they're
just
talking about.
amazing. Yep.
Yes, they are. They are absolutely amazing people.
Yeah.
I can't, anything I would say would underhand how hard they fight for Troy. You know what I mean? Nothing I could say could describe how hard. As a matter of fact, the conclusion that they want to come to in all of this is changing the laws. Um, whenever it
Why her
comes,
niece was
oops,
savagely killed. Well,
sorry, whenever it comes to police
Their informant,
and
the
informant,
informant. Yep.
yes.
Yep.
So,
I mean, honestly, you know, law enforcement has so much to gain from their informants. They truly should be protected.
yes, absolutely. And we always tell people if you see something, say something. And they police say that their informants are voluntary, which we know not all of them are as voluntary as they would like us to think they are. But
Right.
they tell us that that CIs are volun they volunteer. You know what I'm saying? To do that.
Yeah, well, there's
So,
always something that they have to do to try to get things reduced on their end, and a lot of the time doing CI work is what does the trick for them or gets
yep,
them out of the trouble that they used to be in. And here they are typically trying to clean up their lives and do better, and then they're killed for it because they're not protected.
yep. Okay, let's go back into it.
sidebar presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Oh, let me finish saying what I was going to say. I got distracted, Sammy. Eve Dillman, the interview that I linked, my last live stream was an interview with Eve Dillman, who is with Jesse Weber doing this interview now. If you guys want to go back and watch that, it's an even more in-depth interview. But I will say there are some things um, that are that I already knew it. I can't say that I learned because I already knew it, but that come out even more in the Jesse Weber interview, and he did such a good job on this. Shout out to him. So the link is in the
I want to talk
description.
to you about a case that you might not have heard of, and I'm not surprised because there really hasn't been a ton of reporting on this, and it is very, very disturbing. And I will tell you what, it's a bit confusing too on a few different levels because this concerns the absolutely brutal killing of Troy Alexandria Strope Staggs, age 42, out of Forest City, Arkansas, married mother of three. Let's go back to February 20th, 2024. And that is when a group of teenagers who were just riding around on four-wheelers that day discovered Troy's naked, decomposed body inside of a plastic storage tote. This was alongside St. Francis County Road 731. And it appears that a DNA sample was analyzed to confirm that this was, in fact, Troy's body. Now, Troy's family, they have provided us documents, details, a timeline of this case. But one of the things they also provided to us was a description of the possible injuries sustained by Troy. But since this information is so brutal and it hasn't been publicly released at this time, we're not going to share it here. But needless to say, according to the family, Troy was massacred. And even though there is limited information about this heinous crime that's being reported, we do know that there have been several arrests made in connection with Troy's death. So, first to be arrested was 45-year-old Micah Lacy. He was charged with first-degree murder, abuse of a corpse, and a felony.
It's muted.
Thank you, Sammy, for letting me know I was muted. Um, Keep in mind, Michael Lacy later on in the documents that we're going to go over. Keep in mind because he had an arrest prior to killing Troy Alexandria Strope. As a matter of fact, let's pull that up right now. Hold on a second. And then we'll go back into the sidebar interview. I just want to show y'all something really.
And it's not even a question of whether he did or not. He absolutely stood up in court and said he was guilty as F, right?
Yes, absolutely. Look at this document that I'm sharing with all of you. This is where Michael Lacy was arrested the week ending November the 5th, 2023. Let me make it even bigger. Hold on a second, Sammy. I'm going to give it the whole screen. Okay.
Yeah.
All of this, his house and everything, location, that is not doxing because this is all in public news reports because Troy was killed, or at least we know they collected evidence and it was reported. Uh, the evidence was reported on news media outlets with this address where they collected evidence from, and that's where Michael Lacy was arrested for the murder of Troy Strope. But the week ending November the 5th, 2023, I, Detective Sergeant Preston Gracie, contacted was contacted by CI number 2020-007 in reference to making a controlled buy from Micah Lacy, aka Mike. Now, keep that in mind. And we're going to go back to the sidebar interview. That all comes into play later. Remember that informant number. Okay. Well, hey,
Wait a
Blondie.
minute.
Good to see you.
Linda put you a message there.
Yeah, that was the date of the buy, Linda. Thank you for correcting me. Thank you for correcting me. That is the date that the buy was made. But remember the informant number. That was back in November whenever the buy was made, but he was arrested February the was it this what day was he arrested, Aunt Linda? I forget.
It was the first like 4 days in February, I think, because I know she was saying he got out what the
I
fifth or
think
sixth.
he got out the 6th. I think he was arrested on the 2nd and got out on the 6th. Yep, the second. Yep, I was right.
Yep,
Thank
two
you.
two.
Yep, thank you. Um, okay, now let's go back to the sidebar interview. Da, 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 da. Here we go.
Weapons charge. And interestingly, it was reported that Lacy was a person of interest since February, but he wasn't arrested until June. Then we had the arrest of 41-year-old Corey Jerome Anderson, who was charged with abuse of a corpse. And just this
I just want to give a shout out to Blondie. It is so good to see you. Hello, beautiful.
month, we had a third arrest. 50-year-old Willie Smith, charged with tampering with evidence and possession of a firearm. And to be clear, these are just initial charges. They haven't been convicted. And again, we don't have a ton of information about what led authorities to these three men or what evidence authorities may have. I will tell you this, though, regarding Lacy. We got our hands on this report that Lacy allegedly pulled a fire alarm in the St. Francis County Detention Center after he was arrested. And he allegedly told a corporal, "This is what you get for not moving me last night." The detention center was shut down for about 2 hours. This caused extensive water damage to the cells.
Okay, you guys, hold on a second. I got to interrupt it again because what he just said about Michael Lacy, you should have moved me sooner because guess what? They are protecting him. I have something to show you. Michael Lacy has been moved. Looky here. They say that Mr. Michael Lacy is now at the Phillips County Sheriff's Office Detention Center. And if you will notice, his charges that he is booked in Phillips County on
Let
are
me
a
ask you a
combined,
question.
huh?
Is it
Go ahead.
is it commonplace for them to move a prisoner like this or at his whim? And for what reasons? I mean, is that normal?
It is when your mama's the quorum judge
Yeah.
and your stepdaddy is Mr. Roy Winfrey, the judge of, isn't it not
The
Magnolia? I think
mayor.
so.
He's a mayor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the mayor of dang it, if I hadn't wanted to say it, I'd remember that. Not Magnolia. What's the name of the town, Sammy? It starts with an M.
Is it Madison?
Yes, Madison. That's it. That's it. Madison, Arkansas. Yeah. His daddy's the mayor of Madison, Arkansas. I mean, his stepdad. And his mother is Judge um, Winfrey, or Justice of the Peace Quorum Judge Winfrey in St. Francis County. So keep this in mind that he did get moved to the Phillips County. This man is literally getting everything he wants, throwing fits, acting a fool, going up before the judge saying guilty as F. And I know why he's proud of what he did, because it gets you a little bit of clout whenever you take out someone that you think is snitched on you, huh? Before you go to prison for a long sentence.
Well, let's look at the law enforcement side of it. I am absolutely disgraced by the fact that they are going to cater to his whims,
Oh,
and it
okay.
was open season on CIs.
Oh, he got assaulted by four guys. That is why he wanted moved. In July, they had him to wait to move him because his face was messed up.
Oh,
Ooh, that's why he
oh
got
well.
moved to Phillips County.
I'm not
Well,
sorry it happened. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry. I'm gonna shut up.
yeah, I'm sorry, but whenever it comes to people like this, if they want sympathy from me, they can find it in the dictionary between syphilis and SH straight with a dot cross. You hear me? SH, you know what? Because that's exactly where they'll find it. This man is
Yep.
a monster. This man is a
Yep.
monster. Okay. Let's now that y'all have seen that, let's go back to the sidebar. Oops, wrong one. There we go.
From the sprinklers. Lacy,
Whoops.
he's been charged with impaired operation of vital public facility, and he was charged as a habitual offender after he's been previously convicted of multiple felonies. Now, Police Chief Ronald Broussard told local media that Troy was a friendly face that he'd seen often. Quote, whenever she'd see me, she'd say, I'm 1052. 1052 means I'm clear. 1053 means I have a warrant. She was just a sweet lady. No one deserves to die such a heinous, unforeseen death. A GoFundMe has been set up by Troy's family. We'll put it up there. And in the post, the family talks about their struggles with getting more information about the death of Troy and how they need legal help, how they are looking for legal counsel during the course of this process. And as I mentioned, the family was kind enough to send us a lot of notes and materials of their impressions, their accounts. For instance, they claim there were multiple crime scenes, that the authorities are in possession of video evidence, a possible video of Troy before she died, or a cleanup. Again, this isn't official. This is their words. And they also allege that Troy may have been a confidential informant and was killed because of that. Now, to give you a sense of what you're about to hear.
Okay. Why would anyone think that Troy was a confidential informant? Well, as y'all know, in my previous live, I shared with y'all information about Michael Lacy being in jail with a Mr. Christopher Davenport during the same time frame. From whenever he got arrested on February the 2nd, he was literally in jail with Chris Davenport. So let me stop sharing this and present this really quick. I want to show y'all something. Let me find which one it is. Is this it? This is it. Now, do y'all remember the CI number that I shared with y'all a while ago? During the same week that Michael Lacy, an informant, bought for Michael Lacy, the informant CI number 2020007, Sergeant Preston Gracie. And mind you, this is not just one controlled buy they did. the informant did 2 controlled buys per person. Okay. During the ending, or this is the week ending November 5th, I, Detective Sergeant Preston Gracie, was contacted by CI 2020-007 in reference to making a controlled buy from Christopher Davenport, aka Little Clifford. Do y'all recognize that CI number? That is the CI number. I'll share it with you.
It's
That
something
bought,
how they have her
that bought,
CI number in
listen,
all of these
listen.
documents.
Yep, let me show it. Yeah, which I'm that we're going to get to that again because did you know that you're not supposed to put any identifying information for CIs?
Yeah, I do. I've read the all the clauses and things that you had posted there. There's absolutely no requirement for them to identify any of their CI
Yeah,
information.
there's no requirement for them to put a number or anything like that. Nothing. Why in the world did they put the CI number on this paperwork and put these men in jail together and give them these documents? Because
Yeah, the
I can share.
documents that you're seeing, people, these are documents these individuals are given when these things happen to them.
Yes. In the week ending November 5th, 2023, notice the detective's name. I, Detective Sergeant Preston Gracie, was contacted by CI 2020 007. And if that CI number looks familiar, it's because it's the same CI as in the document with Chris Davenport that I just showed you. Okay. Now,
Yep.
really quick, we're going to finish watching the law and crime after this, but I want to show y'all something real quick. Okay. This was a raid, a drug raid that happened where 30 arrests were made. Okay. And the state troopers made the arrest in St. Francis County. Okay. And here are the names on the list. Do you see this Roy Parker of Forest City? 37, right? Okay. Let me show you this. This was one of the people that got busted in this raid. And oh, what year was this? 2021 in Forest City. State police come in and did a raid. Let me show you what their documents show about their informants. Okay? Y'all, Forest City got Troy killed. Straight up, they got her murdered. They put the informant number on the paperwork with the date, times, so the people that were arrested that got busted knew it was the same person that did the controlled buys, and that is why Troy Alexandria Strope is dead, I believe. Okay, but let me share this with y'all now. This is what paperwork with informants should look like. This is done by the state police. Hold on a second, let me find it. Here it is. Okay, let me make this smaller because there's no uh, anything on here that's doxing. Okay, so let's see. Right here, let me make it to where y'all can see this full screen. If you will notice right here, it says in October of 2021 at approximately 3:10 p.m. And this is, look at the second paragraph, first of all. During the week of October 01, 2021 through October 9, 2021, I made a controlled purchase from Roy Parker Jr., The following are the facts from the purchase. In October of 2021, and this is in the same county, at approximately 3:10 p.m., I met with a reliable, confidential informant, referred to in this report as CI, as a predetermined location in St. Francis County. Okay. When we arrived at the location, the CI made a recorded phone call through Facebook to Roy Parker Jr. to verify the drug was ready. Parker answered the phone call and advised the CI. Do you notice anything, Sammy?
Yeah, they're not identifying their CI by any means whatsoever,
Any means.
except to use CI.
Yep. And I'd put money on it that Roy Parker Jr. was dealing through Facebook, so he didn't know he had so many phone calls that day. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's what they're doing these days.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Well, we've been seeing it for years. Some of these people are using their social media to advertise and do business.
So, do you guys see what's going on here with these two different drug raids that went down in St. Francis County? This was done by the state police, and on all the documentation, all it has to identify anyone is CI.
Yep.
There's no number at all on any of this documentation from the state police. I have the full report, and you can see it here everywhere. The only thing it says is CI, 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 CI. Do you see it? CI, CI, CI,
When they
CI, CI.
used
There
when
you
they
go.
used the CI number of Troy, when they were filling out other documents for other people that were arrested, this identifies her. It puts there a connection to
What it does
who
is
the
it,
CI is.
let me explain to you what it does. It tells both Michael Lacy and Chris Davenport that the CI that got them both busted was the same person, and they
Right.
sit in that jail cell together. And we're like, well, who did you sell to that day? And he was like, well, this is who I sold to that day.
Yep.
And it
They
come
figured
down
out.
to, yep,
Yep.
they figured it out because they had the CI
Yep.
number on it.
Yep.
Without that CI number being on those documents, they would not have been able to figure out who it was.
Right.
They wouldn't have all known it was the same person to start with. They would not have known it was the same person. So yeah, that's how much. Whenever the Arkansas State Police come in and did the raid, that's how much of identifying markers they gave out for their informants. So here's the
Zero.
problem.
Yep.
Here's the problem. Uh, exactly, Sammy. Zero. Why was CI number? Let me share it with everyone again. Why was this CI number put on this paperwork? Why? CI 2020-007. Why was that done? Good night, dark side of the moon. Sweet dreams.
I believe it is done intentionally to mark her and identify her because the people involved who were arrested had connections where they could find a way to identify this individual.
That does identify that it's the same informant during the same week. They knew it was the same person. All they had to do was go, well, who bought this much from you that weekend? You know what I'm saying?
It was like they called the dogs
It was the
out
same
on her.
person. Yeah,
Yeah, that's how it feels.
exactly. I mean, people on, YouTube and stuff and everywhere is all into this doxing business. She got doxed by the cops. She got doxed whenever they put this informant number on this
Yeah.
paperwork. And
It
it
was very
led,
intentional because it is
it
on
really it
others.
feels that way.
Yeah.
I can't say
Yeah.
for 100% that it's
Well, it
not
feels
just
that way.
stupid, sloppy work.
I don't know.
But you know
There's
what I
something
can
shady
say?
about it.
What I can say is something needs done, and we need to change the laws that it is standardized that they cannot put the CI number on the arrest affidavits,
Well, how about they
especially if
protect
they're
their
going to go.
CIs? I'm sorry, but
That would
it
protect the
doesn't matter.
CIs. Uh,
They need an absolute like some kind of process that they use to help protect these people because these people are helping them. And without these people, they would not get where they're getting.
yeah, these are people that are furthering these careers every time they help aid Preston Gracie in a drug bust. Why wouldn't they protect that person? But sadly to say, oh my goodness. Mm.
And that's what I'm talking about.
I had a young man call me yesterday who said Forest City Police Department gave him up afterwards. Everybody, that's Aunt Linda. That's
Yeah.
Troy's aunt in the chat with us, by the way.
Hi,
So
Linda.
please mind what you say and be very respectful, is all I'm going to ask, which I know everyone in here is lovely like that.
So, Forest City, she said
Oh my
someone else
goodness.
called and said that they always give up the informants. That is disgusting.
Whew. Do you know why I think they're giving up informants?
Tell me, please.
Because I think the police department wants its own. Well, hello, Miss Shelley Johnson. Good to see you, beautiful. Because I think that they want their own drugs pushed through there. From what I understand, there's a lot of traffic between Texas and Forest City, Arkansas.
In
I can show
Memphis.
you cases. I can show you cases out of Texas that literally people have been arrested in Texas and in Forest City, Arkansas, the same person for drug trafficking.
Well, they're making a killing off of this, arresting them, finding them, letting them run off with the unsupervised, probation for years upon years on end. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Michael Lacy apparently thinks he's just going to get a little smack on the wrist.
Well, it kind of looks like he is.
And it's absolutely disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
This man was sitting in court. Let me explain this to y'all because I witnessed this. Was it the 22nd? It was the 22nd, wasn't it, Sammy? August 22nd, my first day that I was up there. Yes.
I want to say it was.
You should ask to see the drugs that should be in evidence. Just saying.
Right,
You
Aunt
know
Linda?
what?
Right?
You know what, Aunt Linda? The last time someone said that, Paragould, Arkansas got raided by the feds. Their sheriff's department did, Greene County, Arkansas.
They've raided a few places in Arkansas.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Halo 12. Good to see you, beautiful. So this is what's going on. This is what this family is up against. this police department decided to do their own drug raids. And this is what I think is going on. I think they're getting rid of their competition. I think they're getting rid of their competition in Forest City, Arkansas. I heard there are none. I wonder where they all went.
Well, that's a red flag there. Yep.
Hmm. Sounds like I need to get some more documents.
I think so. Imagine that. Yep.
Where'd they all go? Where did all the evidence go? Let me guess. It was like the rats in Louisiana that were eating all the drugs.
Well, they're not going to answer to us that question, but let's say the FBI had to step in, they kind of would have to answer that question to them.
Yeah, you're probably right about that one. They probably would. But you know what? Evidence goes missing from police lockers all the time. If you'll remember, the serial killer that I had my encounters with,
Hmm.
scariest encounter of my life with, actually, from another human being. Robert Brasher's, the weapon that he used whenever he was breaking into that woman's house in Paragould, Arkansas, that they caught him with, was the weapon that he used to kill the Shears, according to the bullet casings, but the gun come up missing. The weapon
Ain't that
disappeared
something?
out of evidence. And I heard, and this is just to remind you, that it's been linked to other cases since his demise.
Imagine that.
It happens every day. But back to this. They got her killed. Look at this. They put the CI number. Do you know what that automatically told Davenport and Lacy both when they were arrested and in jail together? That the same person is who got them arrested, was the same informant. That's exactly what it told them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And here's
Without
the
a
part
doubt.
that's even worse. Here's the part that's even worse. Troy had quit using. She had gotten clean, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The only thing, the only thing this woman did after she got clean was had an accident where obviously nobody was seriously injured or anything, but she had been drinking and driving. She was a little, a little intoxicated, so to say. And I know this to be a fact because I was told this by family. And it's also in the rest of the interview that we're fixing to watch. She has charges missing from her record that should be there from 2020, I do believe it was, that have disappeared. But this person, this informant, CI 2020 007, appeared, I do believe, in 2020 because that is why it says CI 2020. That's the
Oh,
year they
okay.
become an informant,
Oh,
if I'm
yeah.
not mistaken.
One of those numbers does represent that. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah, the middle number, 2020.
Hmm.
So, hmm. No higher education needed. Yeah, no higher education. Exactly. It's not hard to put together, is it, Aunt Linda? Not at all. They handed Micah and Chris and whoever else they arrested using the CI number in that raid. They put the number on there, so they all knew it was the same person.
Yep. There's
And
no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind that was the intent. I'm sorry, but that's exactly the way it appears to me. There's no way you can tell me anything otherwise.
now I will tell y'all this. I was told by random people in that town to look into a case from 2018 where a boy burned to death in his car. And you can find it. All you got to do is look up boy burned in car 2018. So I went and looked it up because I was told that Michael Lacy should have been in prison a long time ago for killing informants.
The streets talk.
Yeah, they do. They say a lot too.
Yep.
They say a lot.
We've heard a lot.
Yep. Okay, so now that we've got the documentation out of the way real quick, I want to go back and finish watching this interview because it'll collaborate. Collaborate.
Corroborate.
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 Yes, corroborate. That's it.
Roll that footage.
Roll that beautiful bean footage. Okay, sorry.
One of the things that the family sent us was an information, arrest warrant, an affidavit concerning a series of drug charges against Michael Lacy. And in the section titled Facts Constituting Probable Cause, it states, quote, during the week ending November 5th, 2023, I, Detective Sergeant Preston Gracie, was contacted by CI 2020-007 in reference to making a controlled buy from Micah Lacy, aka Mick. The informant advised me that Mr. Lacy contacted them and advised that he had methamphetamine.
Okay, you're muted again.
And that he wanted to meet at his residence. It should be noted that CI 2020-007.
And that's the document that we just went over. Okay.
Is a trusted informant that has provided trustworthy information in the past with the Forest City Police Department. I met with CI 2020-007 at a predetermined location. The informant was then given a predetermined amount of money to make the controlled buy. The informant was equipped with a surveillance device. As the informant arrived, a barbecue grill and a bicycle could be seen on the front porch of the residence. The informant then enters the residence and sits at the table. Due to the crystal clear video, I was able to identify the suspect as Mr. Michael Lacy. Mr. Lacy is seen on the video activating a digital scale. Mr. Lacy then pulls out a large clear bag that contained a clear ice-like substance. Mr. Lacy then takes some of the clear ice-like substance out of the clear bag and places it on the digital scale. Mr. Lacy then takes the clear ice-like substance off of the digital scale and places it in a clear bag. Mr. Lacy then hands the clear ice substance to the informant. The informant then exits the residence and immediately returns back to my location. Upon making contact with the informant, I was handed a clear bag that contained a clear ice-like substance. And then it goes on to state that the clear ice-like substance field tested positive for methamphetamine and yielded an aggregate weight of 4.2 grams. Hey, by the way, thank you so much for coming to Sidebar to hear us talk about this story. It definitely needs more visibility. And one of the reasons we're able to do that, to present these stories for you each and every day, is because we get incredible support from our sponsors. And I want to highlight one that is really important for you business owners or those of you starting a business. It's called Odoo. So Odoo is a free all-in-one business management software that provides you with a range of applications that can help with the day-to-day of OD. Build a prime crime website with Odoo and put a bonus free for the first year when you use our link odoo.com/LC sidebar. Hope you can check it out. I had the opportunity to sit down with Eve Dillman. This is Troy's aunt, to hear more about what the family has been experiencing, what they've been going through. And as you will hear, though, she has different theories and claims about this case and the players involved. Now, I have to be clear about something. We haven't been able to independently verify many of these allegations and her opinions as of yet, but nonetheless, we did want to provide Eve and the family a platform to talk about what's been going on. So let's take a listen. Eve, thank you so much for coming on. I am so sorry for your loss and for what you and the family are going through right now. You sent
I just want to say before we go into this, I've gotten to know Eve and I've gotten to know Aunt Linda, and these are some of the most lovely people who loved Troy. I would like to start there before you know anything else about them. This is all for Troy. They work their butts off. They have lives that they still carry on, and they are still out here fighting like troopers for Troy. I just want to say that. Okay.
And I want to thank Jesse from Sidebar for taking this on, looking into
Absolutely.
this.
Absolutely. And he did a really good interview, and there's more even in his interview, some stuff, but there's also even more stuff, that wasn't in the sidebar interview, in my interview. And if y'all would like to see my interview from 2 weeks ago with Aunt Eve, that Aunt Eve Dillman, that one is in the section below, along with the full link to go watch the sidebar interview completely uninterrupted. It's in the description below. Both of those are. Okay.
Sent us a timeline of events, documents, details about the story. Really appreciate it. But where I want to start before we get into all that is I just want to know how you and the family are doing right now.
It's a struggle every day. Yesterday was 6 months that they found the tote, and every day we live it. Every day, every morning, every night. It's just haunting and horrific, and we just cannot move past it without getting some kind of justice.
When I was going through the documents and I was going through your notes, the word that kept coming to my mind was frustration. There felt like a lot of frustration. What would you say is the most frustrating aspect of this whole investigation?
Well, I would say that it's that they sealed all the documents, and we gave them tons of information, tips, and they gave us nothing.
When you say by the way, do you mean law enforcement? Do you prosecutors? Who are you referring to?
Yes, both. Law enforcement, the detectives. Every time I would call, they would say, we can't give any information. It's an ongoing investigation. Even after the arrests were made, they didn't want to give us any information.
Guys, if you're looking for a school that is 100% online, offers low cost tuition, and has over a...
So it's very frustrating because we know they're hiding something. And the hiding is what makes us dig deeper. And it's what makes us try to figure out what really happened. Because it was so horrific. There is no way that I would believe what the head detective told me, which is she was shot at the Buford house by Lacy, and she was disposed of, and it was over money. And I don't believe any thing other than she was shot by him. But there's a whole long timeline in between the time that she was shot and the time that she was put into the tote, and the involvement of the amount of people. It was so horrific. There had to be something going on other than what they are telling us. I don't believe it was over money. I don't believe that he disposed of her. I've heard so many other stories that it's just unbelievable.
Now, whenever she's speaking about multiple crime scenes, there are multiple crime scenes. That is a fact. It has been not verified on documents or paperwork, but it has been verified through law enforcement that there is a cleanup video. But the crime scene is not at the Buford address. It's at the Regency Motel, I do believe is what it's called.
Yeah, I think that was the name of it.
But I only got told that there was a cleanup video of it. The part from law enforcement.
Well, if
The
there is a
Regency
cleanup,
Hotel, I got told it was the Regency Hotel by people in Forest City whenever I was in court. Whenever I was interviewing random people trying to get information about the case, I was told that it started at the Regency Hotel. So if everything took place in the Buford house, like all the documents and stuff say, why is there any kind of cleanup video from the Regency? That doesn't make sense,
How
right?
much are you willing to bet that there's more video than just a cleanup?
You know what, Sammy, that's the worst part because you have to know if someone's dumb enough to clean up to record a video for a crime scene. And that the information about the hotel is in my last my interview with Eve, by the way. That's where that information is in that interview, some of it too. But yeah. So how are there two different crime scenes if and a cleanup at the hotel if because there are multiple crime scenes just like there are multiple people?
Yeah.
I think there are at least 3 crime scenes if I'm not mistaken. The motel, hotel, whatever it was, the Buford Street apartment, and 731 Road. That's 3 crime scenes. So, okay, back to this.
Okay.
To be clear, and I went through the notes, do you believe that Troy was killed because she was working with police as a confidential informant? And why do you believe that?
Yes, we have come to that conclusion because as we dug through the documents, I'm going to give you a timeline. So the first warrants, 5 warrants, were issued on January 3rd. Then an arrest was made for Lacy on February 2nd. He went in front of the judge on the 5th. He was released on the 6th. And that was a charge of felony. So how he was released, the bond was set at $50,000. Those documents are not available to us, so how he got out.
But those were drug-related crimes?
Correct. So he gets out on the 6th. While he is out, Troy's body.
And you're muted.
Yes, those were drug-related crimes from CI-2020-007, by the way.
He ends up found on February 20th. Sheriff May, who is the head of that county, says on national TV that her body was decomposed for about 2 weeks. The timeline is perfect for 2 weeks. So they identified her body. She was found on the 20th. They identified her body on the 26th. On the 29th of February, they went into the Lacy house with the warrant. Now, what they were going in there for or how they would know to go there is unbelievable. But they went in, they arrested him again. They confiscated forensics. To my knowledge, people are saying it was like 6 bags of forensics that got taken out of the home. And we were told.
So here's another question for you, Sammy. They got Troy's DNA back, right, on the 25th, right? Or was it the 26th? It was the 26th. They got the DNA back. It was either the 25th or 26th. And they said they had no idea, right, who it could be, right? Why did it only take them 4 days after they identified her to arrest the man that killed her? Because they knew he did it because she was an informant.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. Yes, she did low 12. Absolutely amazing interview. Speaking of which, I'm gonna let it play now.
After that, all they were doing is waiting on forensics. Meanwhile, he gets released again. And then in May 16th, they go back into the house a third time. And at that point, they arrest him. He's been in jail since, but they took out, to my understanding, all the furniture in the house. Now, meanwhile, we've been giving them tips of all the stories on the streets. And the way we got those stories is we started a Facebook page in honor of Troy and a GoFundMe page to start a reward. And when we did that, people started opening up to us. Now, the page was meant for grieving, sharing her stories, her pictures, all of us to have a place to vent, share items, tell her life. And then it became private messages on Messenger, text messages to us, phone calls to us, and the list just never stopped. It's still going. The list is still going. Even in my timeline, you'll see that it says it's not complete. There's so much conversation that still needs to be put in there that was told to us, and it is very time consuming, but we are determined to get answers.
But just to clarify, what about that? Was it from the information you were getting from, like you said, people on the streets, that she was a confidential informant? What was it about that you think that that's what she was essentially killed over? And what was her job? What do you think she was supposed to be doing? And what was she killed over?
Okay, so Troy had three arrests.
Okay.
The middle arrest disappeared. That was in 2020. Troy, the CI number on all the papers that we pulled, my sister went into Arkansas documents of the courts and pulled all the arrests. All 5 documents of the people involved had the same CI number, 2020-007. So we have come to the conclusion that Troy was that CI for a few reasons. One, she took her child back to her husband right when that was happening and said, she'll be safer here. Troy would never leave her children for something that was, not serious. And she then had to establish herself with these people in the drug scene, and in order to get them arrested. There was 10 buys, 2 for each of the guys, and all the documents are in the information that I gave you, and they're public knowledge. So you can go on there and you can pull it up and you can read. They're all...
She got clean and got her life on track, and they sent her back into the lion's den.
Yep.
Similar, but they all have the same CI. And the reason we feel they failed her is not because she was a CI, because I've been told CIs die all the time, which I find utterly ridiculous. But we feel they failed her because they put that information on the paperwork that they gave these 5 guys, and they're all in the prison or the lockup together. So this is how they figured it out. Now, if you look up other people who are in the lockup, their CI information says this CI will be known as CI. No number, no nothing.
But just did you get clarification from law enforcement? Did they say?
No, they won't. They won't tell us.
Did they even
anything.
say, you're right, that CI means the confidential informant number? They haven't given you any confirmation about this whatsoever.
No, but they haven't denied it either. They haven't refuted it anywhere, and we have put it even on our page. We have put it out there, and it's about to go all over in a letter, and they have not refuted it.
And you believe that is why they're not sharing more information?
Absolutely. I believe that Lacy started the killing. There were a bunch of people involved before she was dead. And the reason they have only charged Lacy and the other 2 gentlemen, which is Corey Anderson and Willie Smith, they charged them on the back end as abuse of a corpse and tampering with evidence. And the reason they haven't charged them with anything else is because they would have to make Lacy's charge, capital 1, which would give him the death penalty, which we were told by the prosecutor will never happen.
Why?
And we believe that it's because his mother is a quorum peace justice of the peace in the county, and his stepfather is a mayor in the county, and therefore the power overrules the justice.
One question about that. If there is this idea of protecting Lacy, was he
Come
the
on,
target
keep it
of,
G,
in your opinion,
YouTube.
was he the target of the investigation that Troy was a part of? Was she supposed to be providing information about Lacy, or was she looking into other individuals? I guess that's the confusion, right? Were law enforcement really using Troy to get information about Lacy, which again would kind of be inconsistent with this idea of they don't want to go after him?
So there were 5 guys that had the same similar charges and that had that same CI. I don't think he was picked out alone.
Okay.
I believe he got caught up in it. And I believe that he was so furious that when he found out, he was making an example of her to say, if this is what you do, this is what's going to happen to you, because they cut her up and put her in a tote and put her on the side of the road for everyone to find. If it was not meant to be, if they didn't want this information to be known that they had done this to her, they could have did anything else with her body.
Mm-hmm. And let me ask you this, and correct me if I'm wrong.
She has an excellent point there. Sammy,
Oh yeah. Yep.
I got a question for you.
Shoot.
You live in Arkansas just like me. You're
Mhm.
driving down the side of the highway. You see a perfectly good tote sitting on the side of the road. Are you going to pull
Gonna
over and
check.
check out it? Yeah.
Yeah, check it out. Gotta check it out.
Yeah. You know,
It's my curious nature.
if you find a big old thing of money like that, you get a 10% reward when you turn it in. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
You
if you
never
find
know.
money or something, if I see a bag or anything, I'm going to look and see if it's got some money in it. I'm going to turn it in if there's a bunch of money in it, but I'm claiming my 10% reward. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Uh-huh.
That's human
Yep.
curiosity. You're going to look and see. They left her. I can show y'all.
On
I have
purpose to be found on purpose. Yeah.
absolutely. And let me show you something. I have the actual picture of the tote. I have the picture, and I can show you in correlation where it was to the road from where he's standing in the picture. And she was literally just feet off of the road in that tote. Kids on 4-wheelers were curious enough to look in the tote. And I got something even crazier to tell you about it. Troy has family that lived less than a mile from where that tote was found. Or within a mile or a mile. Close to there. They wanted her found. I'm pulling
Oh
up the
yeah. And based on other things we have heard from the streets, um, they made it very obvious. Made it very obvious and had something to share to prove
Okay.
that they were not playing.
Let me show you how close to the road Troy was found, because you can actually see the steering wheel of the cop car in the photo. Okay. This just makes me so mad. It makes me so mad. This is how close to the road she was. Tell me they didn't want someone to find her.
This is
Look,
a
that's the
human
steering
being
wheel. That is
who
the
had
steering wheel of the police car.
this woman has children. She has family who loved her deeply,
They
and they
put her
thought
in
this
this
was
coat,
okay.
and it looks like they put some tape or something. Yes, yes, this is an actual. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I think this is relevant and that y'all need to see it. It's not graphic, but this is crime scene photo. Absolutely. This is it. This is how close to the road she was. This is a steering wheel in this photo. And that's the tote that she was found in. There you go. That's how close to the road she was. She was almost on the road. So, yeah, I highly think they intentionally left her to be found. I agree with Eve on that. Absolutely.
Yep.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. It just. All right. Let's finish watching this. I agree.
Do you also
This
believe
poor family.
that when the court, according to the timeline you laid out, let Lacy out on those drug charges, that Troy was still alive, and that if he hadn't been released, Troy might still be alive today?
I absolutely believe that. And we have a text from her family on January 23rd, okay? Then she had spoke to one of her family members on the telephone the weekend of February 2nd. She was still alive. And I do believe he got out just to get her.
And by the way, I could be 100% wrong about this, but I was looking at some of the documents. Am I wrong to say that Micah Lacy right now, we're not exactly sure where he is?
So last night we received a notification that he had been moved. When I looked into the St. Francis County lockup, it said he was released. So I sent that information to your director. But since then, we now know that he's in Phillips County, that they transferred him, and it's been said it was for his safety.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm guessing you don't believe that.
Well, they're worried about the murderer, not the victim, or the case at hand about the murderer. I don't know about.
Let me ask you this. I also were you and the family trying to get a copy of the autopsy report from Troy? And
Absolutely.
that what's been going on there?
And we were told that we will not get a copy of the autopsy or any information case until every appeal has been exhausted from everyone involved. To me, that says almost never. They don't want us to have any information if we will know.
And it's crazy that they say until every appeal is exhausted, because I've already seen Michael Lacy walk up in a courtroom and say, guilty as F.
Listen, wait a minute. They're entitled to this information.
They are, but they're being blocked from this information. And that's why the GoFundMe is so important, or them getting a lawyer that's willing to take this case on. And not, might I also add, to any attorney that is willing to take this case on, you might want to ask the horrible things that Dale Arnold said about these people that are fighting for justice for their loved one.
Yeah.
Because it was absolutely nauseating.
Yep.
Why? Because he didn't want people looking into the case. As a matter of fact, he didn't want people looking into the case so much They sealed the documents the same day that he told me the horrible stuff that he said. That is how gung ho they are to hide everything in this case. They're willing to talk bad about the victim's loved ones because they want justice for their family member. And it's disgusting. He's more worried
It
about how
is.
long he's been a cop than actually serving justice. Because let me tell you something about the difference between murder one and capital murder in Arkansas. Capital murder in Arkansas, okay, carries a sentence, a life sentence, or execution. However, first degree murder carries a 10-year minimum to a 25-year maximum.
Yep.
Michael Lacy's already been up in front of the court bragging about he's only going to serve, what was it, 9 months or something like that.
Right.
I mean, come on. And I'd
Massive
like to know who
injustice.
paid his bill.
This is a
Massive,
massive injustice.
massive. You can, if you guys would like to donate to the family here, oops, they won't let me put the GoFundMe in there. They marked it as spam. That's weird. YouTube won't let me put my own. GoFundMe / Troy Strope. I don't know why they marked it as spam. There it is. Thank you so much, Lolo. So there's the intricacies and all of the documentation to show y'all what happened. Now, here's something else for you. According to FOIA's regulations and rules, because Troy is dead, sadly, but because she is deceased, we should be able to FOIA request her CI number. I am putting a FOIA request in within the next 2 weeks. I have a date set aside to go to Forest City and file the FOIA request for her CI number. I have a feeling they're not going to give it to me, but I'm going to try. Sammy, I got to get something to drink. Will you
Okay.
take over for a minute, love?
Oh, yeah. Well, ultimately, not only are they after justice for Troy, but they want to start some kind of legislation to try to have the laws change to where confidential informants are absolutely protected. Not all of this nonsense and carelessness and, doxing because they feel like it, because they can. It's just absolutely disgusting. This was another human being who was doing her very best to get herself on the right track. She ended up doing this. And I can't help but feel like as a mom that she might have seen this as a way to try to make the world a better place for her own children. I could see that. I totally could understand her doing it for even that reason. And I just don't believe that this was justice in any way. Now that they are being called out, they are sealing off everything so that the family cannot have access to the information that they need because they have to do their own investigating because the law enforcement is not helping them and is not talking to them and is not giving them the info that they need.
No, they're absolutely blocking them at every road, which is why they need an attorney. The
And this
GoFundMe
is a
link
major,
is on the
grave
screen, you guys.
injustice. Yeah.
Yes. If you can't donate, if you guys would please share this video, share their story, share the sidebar, share the interviews, share everything, share Troy's story, because the only way to bring about change, because let me tell you something, there's not going to be capital murder charges brought against Michael Lacy. We have been told that is not going to happen. Okay.
That is such a disgrace.
There is a written signed confession from Michael Lacy, but it's not all true. And, actually, according to Arkansas state law, if any part of a sworn document is falsified, then it's not admissible to the state and the state should reject it. And if Michael Lacy said that it was over money that he shot Troy, after finding all of this out about the same
It's a lie.
CI, yeah, I think it is. If that is all true, and he's only looking at a maximum of 25 years for what he did to her, which is not justice at all. Here's the thing. The one thing that we can do to change this is by the laws. And what Troy's family wants to do is get an attorney to get this information, to bring all this to light, and take it before legislation to make laws that protect informants, that uh, make it part of the process that the CI's numbers, their informant numbers, cannot be put on documents, that they cannot be identified through documents by the people that they informed against. Because here's the whole thing. They didn't need to put the information on there. There was nothing. They had video evidence. Listen to what I'm saying. They had video evidence of the drug purchases. They had no need to put the CI number on the paperwork. It was not even necessary in the affidavit because they already had a video of the buy as evidence. That part right there makes you kind of have to wonder, are they intentionally getting people killed? Are they trying to? I think it begs the question. I think it should be asked. And I think that we need to support this family in getting this information so that we can get these laws changed. Because let me tell you what, any one of our family members can get in a little bit of trouble and have a little bit of a past and be put in the same situation. And you all know what I'm talking about. I know y'all do.
Absolutely.
To any one of our loved ones. And without justice for Troy, and if we don't do something to stop this and change this, it would have all been in vain. And I do not want this beautiful, kind, compassionate defender of the underdog, loving mother who was 42 years old at the time that she died and was brutally taken away from her family. I don't want to know her face like I do and know that it was all in vain, that she died brutally for nothing, and that there was no justice for her, because justice for her is justice for all of us and all of our loved ones. And people can be like, oh, snitches get stitches and all that nasty stuff. Let me explain something to you. Without informants, none of our loved ones would likely ever get justice in any situation. We always say, if you see something, say something. Well, she saw something, she said something, she put in the work, and she died a horrible death because of it, because she did the right thing. So, Sammy, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
I just want to say thank you for all the hard work you and her aunties are doing. I am so proud of everything that we're getting down to the bottom of some of the things that we need. And I just pray to God that Sidebar, Jesse and Sidebar will continue to carry this torch and help.
Yep.
I can't thank him enough for giving this some attention. We need everyone out there to know about this story. This is Troy Strope, she had kids, and I'm pretty sure they were looking forward to a good life with her once she had gotten herself in that good place.
She'd be 43 just a few weeks back
Hmm.
if she were still here.
She's a human being. All your CIs, they're human beings, no matter where they've been, what they've done. Them being a CI is a big turning point in life, believe it or not. And a lot of people don't understand that. And it's like they take up the fight for justice. By doing what they're doing, they're putting their lives on the line and losing their lives over there in Forest City.
And you know what the messed up part is, Sammy, is that informants make law enforcement officers' jobs. Like,
Oh yeah,
without informants, where would they even begin?
that's what I was saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and finish watching this real quick. I forgot we had a little time left on it. We got like 7 minutes or something like that. You want to finish watching it, Sammy?
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Our conclusions are correct, and we will know all the information of what they did to her, how it happened, and that there were more people involved than Michael Lacy.
And that's what I wanted to get to too with you, Eve. Do you believe there are more people involved? Do you believe there are going to be more arrests?
So 2 arrests were just made. And
Shut up.
and we know they were names that were told to us they're involved. But as all the other ones charged on something else just to get them in there to question them. If they're actually going to charge them, I don't know. But I know that they know there are more people involved. Originally, we were told more arrests would be made. And then not too far back, the advocate, whose name is Mary Castle, told us that she thought they were all finished. So at that point, it says to me, they should be releasing something to us, but they have not. They will not give us any information.
Have you retained an attorney, or are you looking at retaining an attorney to be your representative in this matter, to help be kind of the middle person between you and law enforcement, or you and the prosecution?
Absolutely. We have been searching for one, but as soon as they hear St. Francis County, they either hang up the phone, they don't want any part of it, or they give us an astronomical amount that they would charge us if they did represent us. So we now have a GoFundMe page where we're trying to raise money.
You're muted.
I just wanted to pause that right there so everyone could look. Here's the Facebook, Justice for Troy Strope. There's my husband. we donated. And I hope that if y'all do have to give to help this family get an attorney so they can get those um, medical examiner reports and autopsy results and get the information that they so desperately need to stop this from happening to another person, it's appreciated. If you don't have it to give, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing um, the GoFundMe and helping them raise some funds for an attorney, that would be absolutely wonderful because Aunt Eve is gonna uh, tell you a little bit more about why here in just a second, but they're having trouble finding an attorney without, well, like she just said, without them charging an astronomical price, or as soon as she says Forest City, they're like, or St. Francis County, they're like, nope, not going to take it. And it's because of corruption. It's straight up
It
because
is
of corruption.
corrupted. St. Francis County, Forest City, Arkansas is corrupt. I have
Absolutely.
written to the governor, the attorney general, and I get a basic generic response. And I'm really disgusted
Well,
because
I
we're
want to
trying to
know.
tell you
I want to know.
you
I
have
want to.
serious corruption out there and you don't give a shit.
Well, Sammy, let me tell you this. Here's a little bit of corruption for you. I want to know why COVID funds were spent on an implant for one's male member by Mr. Dale Arnold, allegedly. Say what? Maybe they should go take an allocation look at the COVID funds and where they
I
were
think they need to be
allocated to.
looking into all of those funds in that
Yep,
court system
they
in
do.
their
You'd be surprised.
DOJ.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. They're not the Pentagon. They can't just spend that money and not tell you where it went. But go look. There's
That's
money
right.
missing. There's money missing. I'm just going to put it out there. There's money missing from
Well, those
the.
records need to be FOIA'd.
Yep. Yep. Da, da, da. Anyways, all right. Let's finish watching this. But I just wanted to show y'all the GoFundMe and stuff. And please go donate if you can. If you can't, that's perfectly understandable. We're all having tough times, but it would be greatly appreciated. If you can't donate, then please share. um, it would be very kind of you. Excuse me. Okay.
Money for an attorney, and we are hoping to get the records unsealed. We are hoping to get an autopsy report. We are hoping to get information to prove what our conclusions are. But every avenue, including going to the courthouse and requesting the documents, we are told they're sealed. So we have only the documents that they will release to us, and we have every single one of them. But the ones they won't release to us is where the proof is.
And in terms of next steps of this case, the actual hearings, what's the next step? Can you tell us?
So they keep postponing it. So originally, we all traveled up to 1,500 miles to go to the hearing that was on July 22nd. And when we got there, the prosecutor took my husband and myself into his conference room to tell us normally what would happen is they would put all the charges together, meaning all the drug charges, the murder charge, everything together, would then go in front of the judge.
Look at him. Boy, he thinks he's thugged, don't he? I'm sorry. I think it's a little bit of jailhouse justice, him having to be transferred to Phillips for getting his old booty whooped.
Judge for a plea. He said, but not in this case. He said, Michael Lacy has gotten himself a hernia, which we found out from his wife he's had for 10 years. But regardless, he's gotten himself a hernia and he needs hernia surgery. So what they want to do is make him go in front of the judge to plead for the smallest deal, which would be the first drug charge of January 2nd. And then therefore he would become award to the state on the state's dole instead of the county's dole. So the county could pay for his surgery. I mean, the state could pay for his surgery and the state could pay the county to house him. So he said, that's not going to happen. And that's when we were like, why isn't it happening? And we looked into and found out that his mother was a quorum of justice of the peace and his stepfather. And so that there was a power struggle there. We're like, something's not right here. And it made us dig deeper. And these are how we found these things, because we could not just take that for an answer.
Look, Eve, this is, again, going back to what we said before, I hear the frustration. And you not only want justice, you want transparency. And I know you're going to continue to follow this. You're going to continue to shed light on what's happening. I appreciate you coming on to talk about this. Again, hopefully this was a platform that we can share this story a little bit more for people that don't know about it. But as you said before, if people want to support you, the best way is the GoFundMe, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We also have a Facebook page for Justice for Troy Strope, and you can get that by hashtag. It'll take you right there. Hashtag for Justice for Troy Strope will take you to the group. And on the group also is the GoFundMe page.
And before I let you go, can we just go back to Troy for a second? What
Sure.
was she like? What kind of person was she like? Sometimes in these cases, we get so caught up in the legal aspect and the investigation, we forget to focus on the victim in all this, who was, not only tragically taken away from you and the family, but in such a brutal fashion. What was she like?
Troy was a really sweet person. She would help anybody. She always had a smile on her face. Even the Forest City chief police in an interview said she's always smiling. Troy was trying to make a better life for herself. She was trying to straighten her life out, he said. And it led me to believe, too, that he worked closer to her, which made me also believe that she would be a Forest City CI. And so that Forest City is in the county of St. Francis. So the house where she was killed at is in Forest City, but the tote was found in St. Francis County on a county road. But Troy would be seen riding her bike. She would help. The last picture I have of Troy is she is riding her bike next to a little boy who is trying to learn how to ride his bike on his training wheels, and she's giving him some tips. That's the kind of person Troy is. She would give you anything she had, and she had nothing.
She sounded like such a great person. And again, I'm so sorry for your loss and for the loss of your family. This is really, really a tragic story. I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you sharing the details. Eve Dillman, thank you.
I appreciate that you listen. I appreciate that you're trying to help our family, and I hope we get justice.
So again, this is Eve's opinion. We haven't been able to independently verify these claims as of yet, but it's interesting. It is interesting. And what we can say, without a shadow of a doubt, this is clearly a tragic, tragic story. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.
You're muted.
So there you have it, you guys. All of the documentation that shows the link between the buys and Michael Lacy. Michael Lacy so proudly going before the judge and saying guilty as F. And then what he said was challenged by the public defender. There was, a conflict of interest there. And then we have, how do we get justice for Troy if Michael Lacy's family runs St. Francis County? Michael Lacy was charged with the murder of our loved one, Troy Strope. Fact of the case. Michael Lacy's mother, Margaret Lacy Winfrey, is the Justice of Quorum, Court District 3 of St. Francis County. She controls the purse strings. That is the position of power that they're trying to overcome. Michael Lacy's stepfather, Roy Winfrey, is the mayor of the town of Madison in St. Francis County, Arkansas. Position of power, which creates a conflict of interest. Why wasn't this case taken before a grand jury? This should have been
Well,
taken
I
before a
say
grand jury.
if the law is the law, and if you commit a capital murder, you should be charged with a
With
capital
capital
murder.
murder. Michael Lacy is being tried in St. Francis County, where his family holds positions of power, influence, and control, which is a conflict of interest. How is Micah held accountable in the county where his family holds so much power? How do we get justice, knowing he might be given preferential treatment when he showed no mercy for Troy? There you have it, everyone. All the latest updates, a lot of documentation to show you guys that I think were important to let you guys know. And that's just a drop in the hat. That's just a drop in the hat. Uh, by the way, these people that were the reason Eve Dillman, Troy's aunt, said that she thinks Michael Lacy got caught up in the crossfires of all of it. Let me explain something to you. Chris Davenport and Michael Lacy were friends. All five of the cases aforementioned by Eve, they were all known to each other through social media in Forest City and knew each other in person in Forest City. You see what I'm saying? It was a group of people that all knew each other. So, yeah, there you go. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that, Sammy?
No, I think you've done a really good job, and I just want to tell Linda and Eve, thank you so very much for being so strong and determined. I know this won't be an easy battle, but we're going to stick with you through all of this.
And do everything we can to help.
Yep.
Justice for Troy is justice for all of us. Hashtag justice for Troy. With that said, you guys, thank you for being here with us. Please hit that like, subscribe, and share. I know it seems like something so small, but it's a big help to the channel. It helps us to keep getting documents, and it helps us to keep getting information and being able to go to court and find out what's going on in these cases and present them all to you and try to provide y'all with the most accurate truth that we can. So if you would like to subscribe and share, I would greatly appreciate it. And it helps so much for the channel. Um, as always, lock your windows and doors. It's crazy out here. It's crazy out here. Lord help us. Share a smile and save a life. You never know, the life you save might just be your own. And as always, be kind to one another, and blessings. And you'll have the rest of your Sunday um, a good day. Bye.